So potential energy is also a type of energy, and the energy possessed by the body by virtue of its. Actually, potential is derived from a Latin word. So potential is derived from a Latin word, which means to be able. The meaning of potential in English from Latin is to be able. Okay, so something is able to. So what is potential energy? The definition of the potential energy is the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its something. What is that something? Maybe by virtue of its position, shape or configuration. So repeat, the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position, shape or configuration is defined as your potential energy. So let me write the definition. The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position. Is called potential energy. The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position or shape or configuration. Is all clear, children? So the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position, shape or configuration is called as your potential energy. So let us discuss in detail regarding the examples of this potential energy. Energy, something due by virtue of its position. Let us consider the water stored in a overhead dam. Okay, so whenever the gates of the dam is being released, all at once the water flows, and that water is coming out with a large force in the sense large amount of energy. Okay, so water stored in a certain height overhead dam is supposed to be possessing potential energy. Not only this, children, consider a stone kept at a some height, a stone falling from a certain height, not falling by virtue of its position, a stone at a lying at the top of a mountain or a hill, you consider it has a lot of energy, and that energy possessed by the stone or the water in the dam is nothing but your potential energy. Got it, children? So two examples by virtue of its position I have told you. The stone at the top of a hill or a mountain, water stored in a overhead dam, overhead tank or in dam, whatever it is. Tank also at our houses and all, tank will be there, that water will be there, that comes with lot of pressure and all, that also possess some energy. Okay, so let us consider because of its shape how the potential energy is stored. Consider a spring. You know spring? Okay, spring can be extendable and can be compressed. So whether you extend the size of the spring or you compress the spring, both cases, all at once after compressing, release the spring, do you get hurt? When it touches you, do you get hurt? The compressed spring? Yes, of course, because the compressed spring possesses certain energy. Similarly, extended spring also possesses certain energy. So the shape of the spring is being changed. Okay, so the energy possessed by the spring also possess potential energy. What type of spring? Either compressed spring or extended spring. The energy possessed by a compressed spring or an extended spring possess potential energy. Okay, so similarly, if you also consider a spring like structure which is rounded and all, it has been released, all like belt like structure, no? So a strong steel or some metal thing, which is thin in a shape, is rolled like very thin metal, if it is being rolled like to make it something like this, and all at once it is released means it will again become straight. So earlier a straight ribbon like structure metal piece you considered, and this metal piece what you do is let us roll it something like this. So this metal ribbon like structure, once it is been rolled and the shape of that is being changed, and once it is released, it means it also, we can observe that it causes large amount of energy. So this, due to the changing of its shape, it possesses potential energy. Not only this, children, suppose an arrow is being released by stretching the bow. So whenever the bow is stretched and released, the arrow is being released, the arrow also possesses potential energy, as well as the bow, the stretched bow also possesses potential energy. So these are the examples of potential energies. Okay, that water in a overhead tank or water stored in a dam, stone, position of the stone at the top of a hill or a mountain, compressed spring or an extended spring, or a thin metallic strip which is rolled in a something like this structure, or a stretched bow as well as an arrow released. All at once also possess potential energy. Now let us try to discuss the mathematical expression for this potential energy. So the next topic is all about your mathematical expression for potential energies.